What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for joining for another fantastic Sunday stock live stream. Hope everyone's had a fantastic weekend. I did. If anyone cares, I had family over. It was a lot of fun. That being said, I know you're not here for family time. We're here for hangout time, talking some stocks, and having a really good time doing that. So again, if I can get a thumbs up in the chat, that'd be fantastic to confirm that the mic is doing splendid. That would be great. We're going to be talking a lot of the earnings coming up this week. Is not going to be anything substantial from what I looked at. I saw Cisco, I saw Lyft, a couple other tickers. Nothing that really was any large catalyst. It's going to really just blow out the market. Jim, hey, thank you. Best notification. Yo, yo, yo. Dumb shit. Bull gang or get that. Oh, Lord. All right. We are going to have a great time tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. All right. So let's go ahead. And that sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much for the thumbs up there, Jim. Appreciate it. Blue, what's up, Pro? What's up, man? G, we got some new faces here. Thank you guys for all joining up, and guys and gals. So if you haven't joined here before, so basically what we do here at what I do here at the Dyslexic Investor YouTube channel is basically we do way heavily towards technical analysis, but of course we have to add some fundamentals into it because that's just the way of the philosophy that I work. I can't do 100% technical because you need to kind of know on earnings are coming out and other various components to kind of depending on what your risk tolerance is and everything. Let's go ahead and just jump into this beast here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get this fantastic thumbnail that took me 5 minutes to create out of the way. So you should be able to see my Thinkorswim platform right now. And we're currently looking at SPY. SPY, if you don't know, is the Standard & Poor's ETF for the 500. It's actually a little bit more. It's like 501, 502 stocks in the ETF. Well, anyways, I'm getting sidetracked already. We're getting super close to all-time highs here, being all-time highs at 33908. That is the previous high in the S&P 500. And of course, if you look in the futures market, we're only down on the S&P 500 at 2.25 points, or basically 0.07%. So the futures basically opened up unchanged, which is, depending on which way your boat rows, is good for the bulls, and it's kind of just middle of the road right now. So we're just kind of like just sitting here, seeing what happens, and see how it plays out. Especially come Monday, Tuesday, we have going to see a lot of things happening. We have President Trump coming out with some payroll stuff, so we're going to see how that market digests that. Again, there's not too many fantastic earnings this week, so there's nothing really that comes to my head, to be quite honest, like we talked about at the beginning of the hour. But let's go ahead and just do the overview on the S&P 500. So you can kind of see here we do have the previous swing high to low on the Fibonacci retracements. You kind of see I kind of made this fun little macaroon kind of thing here, which it's green, yellow, and red. Basically, if we do hit this all-time high at 339, multiple things can happen. If like literally someone comes out and saying we have a cure for the virus, we got a vaccine, we could just be flying through that all-time high and no one's going to give a rat's you know what about that support level. But we most likely would be hitting this level, potentially knocking on its door for a little bit, and then trying to break it through. We could hit through it and then come back down to certain levels. More or less likely, you normally kind of come through it and then kind of start coming back down a little bit to kind of test some support, to kind of shake out some weak hands and things like the folks that are potentially bought the top into Thursday, Friday, and the market always likes to do things that people aren't ready for. So just be mindful that these are just some levels that potentially really just for like more the bull case would be caution. So basically we start breaking out of the green below the green box, the yellow to red. This is going to be basically further down we go, the worse it can get. That being said, so we'll see how that plays out. Especially with Monday, Tuesday, you gotta really have to respect the price that the market will give us and kind of play off the tune of again, the market. We're not going to be trying to hope and pray that the market hits all-time highs. We have no idea if that's going to happen. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't have the sense. We're not part of the minority report where we can tell the future here. So we have to really look at what some support resistance levels are and kind of use the probability of what could happen and just kind of work with what the volume and price gives us in those trading days, right? All right, so that's basically that little recap on that. Of course, you probably already know that we have the QQQs already making an all-time high, pretty substantial. We're looking for that price target kind of slow down at the 1618 at $282.30 for the upside. Again, this thing has just been going gangbusters due to the fact of all the very hot tech sections just making boatloads of money. You can Apple, you got Apple, Amazon, Facebook. All those folks are huge component in the Qs. So they're going to be really just taking forth and really just driving up the overall Nasdaq. All right, so this basically the very simplistic overview on that market. We start diving into some stocks here, boys and girls. We're going up, we're going down, who knows? We'll find out, right? The gambling, all my Monopoly money on silver. Yeah, silver is in a different league of its own. We have gold up basically 13 points right now, or a little over like 0.68%. Again, anything can happen in the market. Gold is really looking at some support levels here about the 2,000 to 250 level. That's basically what we're looking at here is the parabolic SAR, which it has really ridden up since basically the mid of last month. So basically riding this up for the last 3 or some odd weeks, just continuously riding up between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average of gold. Kind of seeing some potential selling here. We are hitting the overbought at RSI. The volume zone's coming down. We have a momentum switch. That doesn't mean it's got to come crashing down. We can kind of just build a base here. This would be perfectly normal, honestly, to kind of take a rest here because we've had such a pretty crazy move here. This is going to be pretty insane for this to continue going. As we always talk about, if you know, the stock market are like sprinters, where a sprinter runs really far up and fast up the hill. The guy and gal needs to take a break, take some water, eat a granola bar, eat a yogurt, whatever, to get that energy back and then potentially get that sprint going again. Or if he tries to make that sprint, rolls an ankle, and then comes trampling down the hill to potentially to the 21 EMA, which is basically where the hospital is, and they can cast his leg up or her leg up, and they could potentially make another run. That's where the base building comes in and where we have the analogies of that kind of stuff. I know I'm putting it in really silly, cartoonish, kindergarten terms there, but that's basically the way I look at it. Silver's a new Tesla. JD, let's look at Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. If I remember Twitter's handle, there it is. So Twitter, this one's been a fun one. Kind of just trading on a very strange range here with Twitter. We're looking for some support here around the 35.98. Just call it 36 to be politically correct. To see if it comes trading down here. The RSI and volume zone oscillator, nothing to really talk about. The volume overall has just been really flat even after the earnings. Potentially, again, just talking about that base building, really need to see it above 38.63 to break those parabolic SARs to have them switch to the bottom, and potentially next price target, if you're on the bullish side, would be around the $40.32. Downside support again is around 36 and potentially even down to 35, where the 34 EMA kind of comes in there, my friend. Blue, any thoughts on SQ? Yes, SQ had that. Someone fat fingered the earnings or talked to someone he shouldn't have, blah, 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 blah. Earnings came out literally the day before. They had to release it. A lot of people got upset. Luckily, I had a position in, and it was really well for us, and a nice surprise. But that being said, with SQ, we're really just looking, again, we've had a pretty blow off top here. Not a blow off top in a bad way, but we had the huge gap up, and usually after a gap up, you kind of need to rest a little bit. And we're really resting to kind of see if we can kind of stay above the 147, even down to the 140 level would be normal between those support bars, and kind of build a base, potentially to test that 170 in the near term. To the downside, we're potentially looking for around 133 to 128 for some downside support, and then extreme cases would be looking for around 120 level there as well to the downside. That being said, there is no signs of anything going drastically down, again, unless they come out and they say Square is going bankrupt, or they forgot to move a zero or divide XYZ of one of their financial reports, and that could substantially make it go down. Thoughts on it's I&O, right? Yeah, so this one it's a hard one to play, because this kind of comes down to, I want to call it a penny stock because I know it was a little bit more, but if anything under like $3 for me is really considered that. This thing has just been really just gangbusters, and again, really just taken off again due to a lot of the pharmaceutical stuff. I'm not really in this range of pharmaceutical stuff anymore. That being said, we're seeing some support here around the 50 and 55 EMAs here, which is ongoing support. But again, with earnings, as you know, earnings is a complete coin flip for me, so I can't state anything. This can easily go to the moon or come back down to the 200 EMA. It's just too much of a coin toss, especially with this, because it's going to be tied strictly to that data that comes out. Can you tell me AMD will take a break so I can make a play? Yeah, AMD is one I would love to add back and add some more stuff to. This thing has been a really great performer for us this year. Really, again, to kind of recap, it was trading sideways for some time, then really just blew out and just continued grinding higher here. Looking again, similar to what Square was looking at, between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, just kind of trading sideways. The parabolic SARs are still below, which is a great sign of a stronger trend intact. Looking for potential consolidation around $80. We can come down all the way to $80, and that would be pretty standard in the short term. If you're going to be longer term investing this, you really want to wait for it to come down potentially to 71. That's going to be your downside support there, even down to 65. But since we have had these multiple gap up days, and it's really trying to hit that $95 price target, and I think it can in the near term. That being said, we need to see this kind of slow down and have these moving averages catch up, because we cannot keep this pace up for extended periods of time. Costco, yeah, we can look at Costco. They've been super strong as well. So Costco, really looking for this pattern also to play out. It was hugging that 325 level for some time. Great time to buy into this, basically putting your level of stops, getting it around the 21. Really didn't break the 21, gapped up on great news of same-store sales, really broke through that 1272, which was on the 338. Looking for this to potentially hold this pattern up here. It can come back down to at least the 335 in the short term. It can easily come back down to 328 if things kind of sell off. But this is a really strong overall movement in the stock. Looking for 335 for the next overall price target there. Yeah, Penn stock's been making her crazy wild moves. You sold your Disney calls too early. You're telling me. Disney's been a long-term hold for us, so it's been we've just been holding it. AJ, Nvidia, yes. Nvidia, great stock selection. Oh, goodness, if I could spell it right. Nvidia, this thing is a beauty. Really, again, just holding that 5 and 8 and just not really breaking through that 21. If it does, it just kind of taps and it just gets out of that water really fast and just continue to grind higher. We do have earnings on the horizon. Again, kind of a slowdown here, again, with the overall market and the overall Nasdaq. But again, hitting an all-time high just Friday. This is a super strong stock. I can't highlight that enough. It's going to be very difficult to be able to buy in. You kind of have to just take the leap of faith and potentially get into it, because we're looking here from the previous swing high to low. We're seeing that resistance here at the 456 level here. It did kind of break above it, but it didn't close above it, so that's the two different things. Potential downside support around 442, even down to 430, and then even down to 423 for your level 1, 2, and 3 support. Since again, it's been really holding between the 5 and 8s. If you want to take a small position around 430, even at the 440 level, you could take that position, but you're going to be not really trading the way I trade. It's going to be very short term on that fact. Again, looking for the price to close above 456, potentially hitting that $500 price target. We're looking for earnings. I don't believe it's next week. It's the following week, right? Yeah, it's the 19th. So that move is still pretty large, intact. So looking basically for a $40 move from there till 2 weeks from now. So it's going to be pretty substantial. That could easily hit that $5 price target if the overall market continues going higher and just things are popping off for sure. Dennis says BIIB. Is that the pharmaceutical index? Oh, it's Biogen. So there, it looks like something popped on that for some good news there. Let me do a quick fib here. I have an alert for some reason up here at this level. I don't remember trading this one, but I probably did. Looking for potential, we need a break again from the previous swing high to low. Would love to see it back above 316. That's a 50% retracement. The 316 to 330 for some overhead support or overhead resistance. To the downside, it can come back down to 302. It closed on Friday at 305, so that's pretty good. Since that huge jump up, I could see this potentially consolidate around the 302 level to potentially build a base to kind of start building up to that 303 level and beyond. Asher, can you please check out Peloton? Oh, Peloton. One of our neighbors got a Peloton bike. They show up in this beautiful black Mercedes van, and they have it all fully assembled, and they put it on your front door and everything. And yeah, it's a super nice piece of equipment for sure. I don't know if it's worth it though. I'm not a workout kind of guy, so it's hard for me to say that. Peloton, this thing again, just crushing it. Really taking over the gyms. No one's really, again, able to go to the gym in some states. That being said, Peloton has just been the service provider for all those folks. This thing has been holding the 21 super well here, looking for potential downside support around 65. Again, we have those parabolic SARs kind of helping with the trend, the 21 as well. So between the 21 and 34 would be great levels for myself if I wanted to play this to potentially add. Again, not adding all your eggs in one basket, but just adding a very small percentage of like 10, 15, 25% of your initial size, and then seeing how it plays out. Potentially, again, if it can build a base here, potentially try to test those highs there, fourth. Zach D, thoughts on Roku? Had a crazy move up and down on Friday. Yeah, a lot of things had overall moves. I think a lot of the like Apple was down like $11 or $12 or something at one point, even more. Yeah, Roku. So Roku again had earnings. It popped. And they came back down, but it held to 21. Excuse me. What we're talking about is again that really strong support around the 78.6 percentile move that was previous to the earnings. Again, it had a huge earnings run, which is always somewhat of discouraging for me. I'm just like, oh, like the people are just getting too hyped about it. You never know for a fact until it really happens. But again, it's more than a coin flip a lot of the times. Meaning it's like 51% of the time. That's a joke for myself. Just really having that issue with that. But it's holding the 151 level fairly well. If it continue holding the 21, everything's still moving to slightly to the top right corner here, all the moving averages, so this is looking pretty well. Again, this still has a squeeze in place. Volume oscillator starting to go higher. RSI is not really moving. This needs to start printing higher to about maybe to 60 to 70 level. We could easily see this to around the 176 level. Really, again, strong support at the 151 range, and then really kind of coming in substantially lower to around the 130 because they had a really large gap up, and there's could be a lot of weak hands in this large candle and volume in these 2 days. So we could see if it starts breaking these levels, these folks over here who bought in could be like, oh, I'm getting out, I need to break even, and could trigger a lot of stops on the way down there. Marco W, DD Dog, so them, Fastly, Datadog, not looking good. Kind of just fell out of favor again. They don't think they really met expectation in the overall guidance, I believe. This thing is not really looking good. Like you said, it is a very sharp knife that is drenched in cobra poison and then also lemon juice. So it's something you don't want to put your hand down in front of. That being said, we can kind of do a very, let me look at this here. Let's see here. Potential Fibonacci extensions. So the previous swing high to the low to the high. So this is coming down support at $74.51, and then potentially support level at level 2 would be around 68.44. So that would be potentially where we would like the knife to stick and potentially bounce around and kind of build a base at these levels. Again, initially here we're looking for that 74.50 level and then down to the 68.44 to be able to be very mindful of that knife. Again, not meaning it has to stop there. It could easily continue to sell and come back down to the 200 EMA without a doubt. To the upside, we really need to see that kind of, again, that base building is going to be super key. So if we start seeing larger red candles like this further to the downside, I don't want to touch it. I want to see super small candles that aren't really that deep red color, and just kind of see it kind of trading in between these ranges here to kind of potentially build a base. Who knows, they can come out and they say they have the cure for the virus and they can come pop higher well over 100. Again, no crystal ball here, but really looking for this knife to kind of potentially bounce and kind of stick a landing here around the $74 to $68 range. Johnny Bravo, I'm hearing that the criticism from hardcore Trump supporters about says they're bringing us back to the gold standard. There's a few things. I'm not going to comment on that. I don't know. I know what the gold standard is. I don't know. I don't follow too much of what all the folks are saying and what they're screaming at each other in the politics. I just kind of cover more like how does it affect the market and my money. Does that sound weird? Groupon puts went down last week. Johnny, I don't know what Groupon's ticker is. Makeshift player, let's look at Walmart. Yes, Makeshift. That is a one stock that I actually love, and I actually showed it to the YouTube membership club about a potential trade idea here. Looking for to hold the 130 level or 129.89 if you want to be politically correct. And again, earnings is on the horizon, not this week, but the following week, to potentially see a run into 133. That's going to be your first level support to the upside. And then support to the downside be basically around the 128 to 127 level to the downside support if it continues going down. But it's looking like it wants to hold that 21 and potentially touch the 34. But this would be a nice buying opportunity. This is something I'll be looking at Monday or Tuesday as well for potentially getting into this position. So great selection there, Makeshift, as always. Thank you, my friend. Jim NIO, the Chinese Tesla. But with this one, they have earnings on the horizon as well. So they actually have the 11th. So that's, what is that, Tuesday? So they have earnings on Tuesday. So be mindful of that. Make a note of that. So the previous swing high to low, we are having a lot of issues here at the 1420 level. So the 1420 level is the 618 from the previous swing high to low. Some overhead resistance here. It's not wanting to break through. We've hit it basically twice and kind of just bounced off it and just kind of built sideways. That doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's just meaning that this line is just giving us a little of an issue to the bulls to break out. But with earnings on the horizon, this is going to be one that's going to be a super question mark for me. That is going to be something that I wouldn't want to be trading this particular stock because it's a super a volatile stock with earnings. You can see here in the previous moves, pretty runs up, runs down, and again, it's a little too speculative for me. And I don't know too much about it like I would like a Tesla, because I've been a much longer term investor in Tesla. And my chat does update it. Sorry, guys. Lordy. Let's see. What did they happen? What happened here? Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Dennis, let's look at Microsoft. Yes, we can look up the Microsoft. Microsoft, again, this is basically in the news for, of course, you know, they're buying the TikTok. Yeah. So this thing, again, is slightly inflated for that particular reason, which I'm super skeptical and be very careful with. It's really having an issue to try to break and close above that previous high, so basically above the 216.35 level. It's going to be very tempting to kind of get the long or potential breakout if it gets above that level, but we're just really in a very tight range here and just looking for some downside support basically around the 209 level to the downside, and upside target is basically around the 221 level to the upside for Microsoft there. Robert, any have you talked about Beak? So I can't really talk about those really, Robert, because there's not that much data on that. It's not like so. It doesn't really like it has like 2 bars. Like I can't do much technical analysis on that. And same with Rocket. They're IPO stocks and they can go to the moon, go down. Like IPO stocks usually have a certain flavor and swag to it, as they call it. That they usually can run up substantially higher, and after 2 or 3 quarters they kind of have a dip that's kind of statistically shown. That doesn't mean it's going to happen to every case, but just be mindful. Again, a lot of momentum in it. You really have to know when there potentially could be some selling and things like that for early stakeholders and things like that. Tesla, yes, without a doubt, would love to talk about Tesla. Tesla. This one's looking a little bit sketchy, but that's the way I like it. I like a little sketchy, a little saucy, a little bit of scary into it. This again, it's holding that 21. It did not close below the 21. We do have a squeeze. The momentum doesn't look fantastic on the squeeze, but that doesn't mean that it has to fire short. We really want to see that if we start seeing the 5 and 8, which is the purple and white line, moving averages start cross through the 21, and the ticks start closing below the 1370, 1369 level. That's would be a little concerning for me. But again, Tesla's a long-term hold for us. And I've just been in it for such a long time that it has come really crashing down well below like 300. But I would love to potentially add some longer dated calls or call spreads, really, because if you looked at the calls, the cost for Tesla is absolutely crazy, the amount, so you have to do like spreads. That being said, with Battery Day and some other stuff could be potentially coming out, we're looking for some potential upside with this. But again, if the overall market wants to go down, it's going to take Tesla with it. You saw it here with the overall pandemic. It took it down here as well. So it took it down pretty nastily. Doesn't mean it can take it. It can take anything down. So be mindful that we are in a squeeze. We are consolidating, which we've seen this pattern before. Kind of basically at this level here. We had earnings, did very well, just kind of consolidated a little bit. We didn't come down as far as this, but again, I think earnings, the folks who bought into this, way into earnings, their expectations were way too high. They were expecting the moon, Tesla to go to the moon. Even though it was a fantastic quarter, they delivered on everything and everything was great and great guidance. It just wasn't enough to drive up the stock to where some people were projecting 2,000 plus. So it's kind of just like consolidating. The candles are really small, which I like to see. This would be a potentially nice position to, if I want to add into this, to potentially start testing to get above that 1640 level. Clint Rogers, what's up, man? What about MU? Yeah. So we're still in MU as well. So MU is still in this box here that we're talking about here. It's been in a squeeze for a very long period of time. We want to start seeing it start breaking out here, and if it starts breaking below basically the 47, 48 level, it starts getting down to the 46 level. That's going to be like kind of a just get out of Dodge kind of situation for us. We want to see it above 50 and then, of course, above 54 to really break out of this box to potentially test 56. Again, we have longer dated calls in this. I think we're selling some premium on some shorter dated stuff, basically around the 46 or 45 level. Again, this one is just, again, a very tight range. It could shake some people out, but I'm just kind of made this make-believe box to kind of keep myself in check. Like, okay, I know it went down XYZ, but this really is looking for a potential move higher or lower. I don't know which way yet, but we'll see how that plays out. What's the Zynga's what's Zynga's ticker symbol? I always forget that one. Cube says Etsy. Yeah, we can look at Etsy. Etsy having a nice, fantastic quarter. Again, really just riding that 5 and 8 exponential moving average. Looking for some downside support at 127. Looking for some upside target at 145.77 to kind of see how that is potentially moving. Again, hitting in that all-time high at 238 after earnings was great, but we're seeing some movement in there. Could be potentially kind of trading sideways at this level to potentially wait for those moving averages to kind of catch up to see how that all plays out. Tesla to 3,000, yeah, you know it. Coolest dad ever. What's up, my friend? Did you do SR? We have not, so let's do that. So that was one SRNE is one that's got some emotional damage for me. If we don't know that story time, we bought into this a couple hundred shares around the $4 range. That squeeze fired long. We sold out basically around a double, and then sold some more at basically this when it kind of just failed to break above the $8.67 and start coming back down. And between me and the pharmaceutical companies, I normally don't do this well, so it was a really surprise, and then I really got on this catalyst and went very well. But of course, I should have held it a little bit more because it never really broke below the 21 here. And of course, it just built another base here, got another squeeze, and now printing above 15. So, whew, yeah. Again, so next overall target, coolest dad ever, is basically going to be around 1988. So $19.88. That is quite far off where we're currently trading. So be super mindful of that. Potentially, what is it? My chart look like? Showing at some resistance, potentially building a base on the 1376. But again, this is completely tied to the virus pharmaceutical vaccine of some kind. It can go completely bonkers without a doubt. The momentum looks super strong here. It looks they had some kind of earnings report. It went up very high. It potentially could be building a base here around the 1375, 1376. Kind of waiting for those moving averages to kind of catch up and really get that overall price target around the 1988 level, because RSI and volumes on oscillator are just through the roof, so it looks super strong. and then BSGM. I know that one. BS, what is it? GM. So this one looks a little bit the complete opposite of what we're looking at here. It's looking like it has a lot of support here at the 200 EMA, but it looks like this was after the quarter, so there could be a little bit more damage there. We are seeing the 5 and 8 cross to the 21, but again, if that 200-day can hold, that could be a potential base here and kind of get a pop higher. Again, I'm not sure what this company does, but it has some potential strong support here at the $7.34, or basically where the 200 EMA is. So we saw that here, really coming down strong into this. Potentially we can see what other support we could see. So the previous swing high to the low to the high. Oh, come on. There we go. So it really just tapped that 50% low of that retracement, potentially support at that $6.91, and then even down to $6.24, but really wanting to break and get above that $8.20 there for that particular stock, my friend. No more locked doors. RKT. Yeah, so this again, RKT is a brand new stock, so this again is going to be extremely difficult to do any kind of analysis on. To look at it, like we really have to look at like a very short time frame. I normally don't do very well with this. So if you're really trading on a very short time frame, which I don't do very well again, I would maybe look at it like an hourly chart. We're really just holding that 21 here. Again, the 21 is basically used on a lot of my charts on multiple time frames. You can use it on an hourly chart or a 4-hour chart. Really looking for that support around the 2350, but again, it's an IPO. It has a mind of its own a lot of times. It's really emotional trigger to people, so it can go substantially up and down, left and right there. So be super mindful of that. Puts on Fastly, Dog, AVYX would have been great earlier in the week. Again, yeah, they had earnings, so it's going to be super difficult to project that. But Fastly was one that really surprised me, and we had some overall downward support there. That being said, we are looking for that potential support levels to kind of come in here. Thanks, coolest dad. Thanks for the $3, my friend. Appreciate it. And he is the coolest dad ever. That's an awesome name. Yeah, so with Fastly, we're really looking for, this is actually do it justice. So we did kind of like a YouTube community post that talked about potential support levels, and we hinted at the 89 to 85, but it really just blew past it because that volume really kicked in, and a lot of folks try to just run to the door here. So what we can do here is a previously... let's see if this even gives us what we're looking for. Let me see here. Yeah, we need to do it at these levels. So it's going to be very difficult, one, to do these Fibonacci extensions here because it's really drastically went down. We can maybe do it. Maybe we could do it on this here. Let's see. Might have to extend it out substantially because it has moved so much. Potentially looking for that support around the $75 level. It's basically where the 50 simple moving averages. That's where a lot of the medium term hedge funds moving averages look at. So that's going to be a lot of interesting activity for those kind of hedge funds to potentially add into that position. So that'll be an interesting place to look at. If Fastly can stop bleeding at that point and potentially start trading sideways there, we could see some potential support at that level. But there's a lot of damage on this, basically gapping down, and then even just further bleeding is never a really good sign. And large red candles like this is going to be a hard one to kind of stop that bleeding initially right off the bat. Looking again for that support level around 75 there. Elliott, IWM. Yeah, we can look at that one. IWM is basically what we use to, as again, the Russell 2000 ETF. This thing looks really interesting because we posted this on our Patreon and as well as our YouTube membership group club. It's kind of just hovering around that 154 level. which is the 78.6 percentile move from the previous swing high to low. We failed it once, and now we broke through it and closed above it, so that's significant. Potentially looking for this to hold and trade sideways and kind of start getting above it. We start seeing the moving averages cross above this is also a really great sign. Again, the Russell 2000 really just represents a lot of the more U.S. Companies. It's not like your Facebook, Amazon, and Google's where they are basically have touched the whole world and they're in multiple different countries. This is going to be more regional banks, oil companies, and different various businesses that are mostly serves the U.S. economy. So this is it's looking fairly strong here with that breakout here into Friday. So this would be lovely to see if this can hold here above that 154 level to kind of see potentially test that 170 in the near term. Intel has 3 new catalysts coming up into mid-September, so could you see a potential reversal? What are the potential... what's it called? What is it called? What are the potential moves here? Again, the bleeding has somewhat stopped here for them. We are seeing that potential moving averages kind of stop here. We talked about this potential just kind of hovering around the $50 range, potentially even down to 45. This is just there's just still a lot of damage here. I know they stated that they're kind of behind on some stuff and they need to kind of ramp up to kind of catch up with AMD, and the virus stuff has really put a crink in their walk. Really looking for that $49 to potentially hold, build that base around that level, potentially start building its confidence back up and getting up to 52, then 55 to 60. But this thing has a lot of damage. A lot of folks literally just dumped this and got into AMD and any other kind of chip maker because there was a lot of selling here on that quarter. Dennis, last one, PG. Thanks, you're welcome. PG, that's why I like to keep my channel PG. This is PG, Procter Gamble. This thing has been performing super well, really holding that 5 and 8 exponential moving averages and continue grinding higher. This thing is just looking like it just wants to hold that moving average, those 5 and 8 moving averages. Again, potentially could be coming down to the 21 if any kind of reversal in the overall market takes place. So I'll be looking for this to be potentially a magnet there. I'm just going to put an alert out there just to see what happens. Potential upside support, we can do a previous swing high to low and we can kind of project out potential price targets. So next price target would be basically around 135.51. So we're kind of close to that. And then next price target after that would be the 146 range again. Quite substantial. We do have earnings that just came out, was pretty great. So looking basically to potentially get to that 135 level in the next easy couple days or even weeks. So looking to the downside again to that 128 to 126 to the downside. MU looks a lot like AMD. It does. But I don't think they have as large as catalyst as AMD does with like the PlayStation stuff. Zynga, yeah, we can do Zynga, ZNGA. So they had earnings as well. Didn't do too well as expected. Really again bopping up to the $10.69, which was basically made an all-time high and then came straight back down to the 34 EMA for support, basically around $9.65. Looking for those parabolic SARs to kind of hold and keep this trend intact. We do have a squeeze in place here. This is going to be a very difficult one to potentially get a really quick reversal on. Looking for potential support here at this, a very strong support at the 34, which we've seen before in the previous weeks. Potentially seeing a pop up back to the $10+ range and potentially start trying at all-time highs from there. But not completely sure exactly what happened here, but it's most likely due to earnings or some kind of expectation not met. But that being said, looking for that support to hold basically around $9.50, $9.56 to hold. If that doesn't hold, we're looking down basically to the 50 or the $9.30, and then even it can go further down from that. But this thing has seen some movement in the past, so just be ready for some volatility for that one, folks. Clint Rogers, yeah, WDC earnings clap, yeah, that for sure. But it didn't. So remember, MU has not broken down that box to the up or downside, so be careful with that one. Vincent, we did Fastly already. We really want to be careful with Fastly. That's kind of a falling knife. Let's look at SPAQ. Yeah, this is that Spartan Energy company that's supposed to buy like Fisker, right? So this one looks interesting as well. Again, this is a very speculative play because again, this is a very speculative play. We'll see how it plays out. We looked again. I thought we had an alert out for this. I think it broke here because we looked for 34 around $12 level to hold. Didn't hold. Now kind of trading at the, what is this? The 50 day. So the 50 day is basically considered like the moving averages for the hedge funds, folks. This could be potentially being bought up here, but there's not too much volume coming in here. This could be a very difficult one to trade. Really looking for this to hold here, basically at the $12 range, and seeing this can really break back above the $13 range to potentially test $16. Again, I'm not following this one very closely, so yeah, be very careful with this. Again, it's a SPAC play, so it's speculative, and I wouldn't putting many eggs in this basket. Derek C, what's up, my friend? Crowd, yep. I like to avoid crowds because I'm an introvert. CrowdStrike, so we can do a previous swing high to low. So this kind of falls in the same zone as Datadog and Fastly and things like that. These things have just run up substantially due to the stay-at-home economy, and folks need to be protected on the internet, VPNs, email spam, all that kind of stuff. This thing has run up pretty substantially with the 21 EMA. Really hit some headwinds here. Basically, once it hit the 118 level, came down pretty drastically, traded sideways, had kind of a larger move higher, kind of went down with the overall market of, again, Datadog, Fastly weren't doing very well, and now seeing that potential support here around the $100 level. Very key round number, $100. Again, it's around that 50 simple moving average, again, what a lot of larger hedge funds use to track and potentially getting opportunities. We are seeing a decrease in volume, which is something that's not really great to see on a stock that wants to continue going higher. So potentially seeing how this plays out, so we can do a previous swing. We're about to see a lot of lines on here. 1 second, I'll clean it up for everyone very nicely. Let me get this out of the way. There. Potentially support here at $99.27. Can even come down to 94. That'll be level 1 and level 2 support. If it wants to really come down and really just take things out and really hurt some people and really just go completely full YOLO bear mode, we can come down to $81, which would be close to around the 200 EMA. To the upside, we really want to see this get back above the 21 and not having those the 5 and 8 moving averages cross over there. Johnny Bravo, I did buy that $4 stock because it was, I liked the story. Again, for penny stock, for me, it has to be basically around like $2 or $3, and it has to have previously no heavy manipulation to it. I do break my rules sometimes, Johnny Bravo, but I haven't bought a complete something that's below $2 or $3 in many years. I know you're joking. Thank you for joining, my friend. What up, Kelly D? Thanks for joining, my friend. Hey, everyone. Thoughts on CSCO earnings this week? CS. Cisco Systems. Yeah, Kelly, like, I was thinking about this one because that's the one that actually did stick out as well for earnings this week. I don't know if this one's going to be like one that could be considered ready for the 5G movement. Like, I don't know. Like, I need to do more research on that. Like, are they getting more money from whatever because since Huawei is not allowed to do any of those routers and everything ready for 5G installation and things like that. Is Cisco going to be the networking number one player? Who knows? Cisco is really just trading in a tight range between the 48 level and basically the 200 EMA, which is around 45. With earnings on the horizon, it's going to be a crapshoot. I think you already know that, Kelly D, for me. We could see, again, last earnings was kind of a flop. The earnings before was great, but then it came right back down. I'm sorry, it wasn't that great, and it came really strong down, and then the pandemic kicked in. And same with the previous earnings, it kind of just all been kind of downwards. So the momentum has just been not too great for Cisco, and it's been just kind of hovering around the 200 EMA. So it really would need to break out to potentially get above 48 to test 52. What are the stocks are saying this week? So they're saying a move of basically $3. So $3, we closed at 47, could put us up to the $52 range if really it just shoots the lights out. And the shooting the lights out means it's a good thing to the 52 level. But again, it can easily come down to the 44 level. So it's really your really tight range here to see. This is going to be a very difficult one to trade into earnings because, again, earnings is a complete crapshoot. Brian, yeah, hey guys, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Didn't Hertz go from 50 cents to $9 in a couple of days before? Yeah, Hertz has had a crazy movement as well once the really heavy day traders took aggressive action against it. Sorry, folks, my chat just scrolled all the way to the bottom. Army of Good, RIOT, that's Riot Blockchain, right? So this is this is what I would consider something that's just really in a heavy trend mode, or just kind of a FOMO mode, where you're seeing this increased volume going in here. Not saying this can't go to the moon, or do very well, but this is something I don't do very well within trading, where something just kind of was non-existent and then everyone fell in love with it and just goes skyrocketing. This is just too much movement and too much emotions for me. DC 8282, what's up, my friend? DE, yeah, DE. That is the Deere, right? Yeah, John Deere. So we can do the previous swing high to low. Whoops. Come on now. Looking for this again, really hovering around that previous, what it hit an all-time high on Friday. Looking for that initial target around 202 if we want to continue going higher. Downside support is going to come with those parabolic SAR dots are, as well with the 21, so around 174, 175 to call it, be politically correct. We have earnings basically 2 weeks from now, a week and a half really. Looking for this to be, again, this really is a nice looking trend here. This can potentially hold the 180 level and the movement. What does the trading tab say? $13 on the next 2 weeks. That's pretty substantial. That can easily come up to that potentially $200 level. That is kind of far away. We just would love to see this above the 21 and the 34, but we've seen a lot of support here around 152 here previously, but there isn't really a large indication for me to go completely ham on this one, to go completely long, because then we do have earnings on the horizon. I honestly don't have a great connection with the John Deere stuff, and I don't have knowledge of that. But that being said, the chart looks really well with the 5 and 8 continue just trading sideways. Again, could be potentially hanging around this level to see how the overall market does. Ethan, hey, just want to say thank you for your great channel. Thank you, my friend. Heard there was a new CCP related hack on Friday. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. Yeah, Tencent. Those Chinese stocks are very difficult to trade. I actually did post a video or a comment to the YouTube members, the YouTube Dyslexic Investor Club about Roku. Roku is in a potential, no, sorry, not Roku, Alibaba, the Chinese Netflix or whatever, or not Netflix, the Amazon. This support level here, the 21, is pretty crucial here. That was pretty drastic slip to the downside, not meaning I'm going to be running out and just going completely gangbusters and just throwing all my money at this level, but this is pretty crucial support here at the 21 EMA at $251. Looking for that potentially to hold, even down to the 34 to hold. That's where the parabolic SARs kind of come into, and potentially see this trade sideways. Again, with earnings on the horizon, we could have an earnings run to potentially test that 268 level to kind of get that earnings momentum run up, and people just kind of go honestly insane and just not think straight. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining. Looks like the chat is really just flying off the hooks here. Steve-O, Twilio, yes, Twilio. We can look at Twilio. So I don't know if you're from the chat is always just constantly moving, and it just constantly when I scroll, it sometimes just locks to the bottom, so I just completely lose my place, even though I highlight the previous name I just talked about. Alright, so this one has just been moving very well. It did kind of get hit with the overall earnings. Closed below 21, but the 34 is still intact. So this is kind of more of a, the 34 and 50 are basically some more of the, what I call the longer term investors. But the 34 kind of comes into play for me a lot. If I want to trade something more than a couple weeks, I want to kind of buy at the 34. So this is nothing too crazy going on here. This is just shaking out some weak hands here, potentially showing some support here around the 242.66 level, aka the 34 EMA on the daily chart, to potentially hold and start getting back above that 256 level here, and start getting that volume and RSI back up, because this chart has just been pretty crazy on this overall momentum and just performing super fantastic. Coolest data ever. Have you done GNUS? I haven't. That's the one I thought I was going to add to, but then I was just, the momentum wasn't there. And of course it was really fell into the, it's just been really lackluster here, and we're looking for some potential support here at basically the $1.51. I don't know exactly, this is like the Arnold Schwarzenegger was investing in or something like that, and some other stuff. It really just ran it up and just came crashing down, and just really just lost people's patience, and a lot of just selling with earnings on the horizon. Really not too much to comment on this one. Coolest that ever, honestly, because just kind of just not been performing very well. Derek C, A, B, D, and Qualcomm, please. Thanks. Is that Adobe? Oh, why is this doing this? What is Adobe? I have it right here, don't I? Hey, there it is. So Adobe is always a stock that I look to see how the overall market's going, because if Adobe's doing very well, I think the overall market and the tech section is doing well, and this usually sells off pretty heavily if the overall tech section is kind of getting some selling or a shift in overall movement in the market. And the 34 is super strong with the Adobe for quite some time here. Kind of seeing that movement here in the past couple days here and weeks. Really looking strong here. We have a squeeze setting up here. I really like this. This is actually a really good trade, actually. Looking for potentially holding above the 442 level to potentially test that all-time high there. So this is a really good looking stock there. And QCOM, also, that is more of a 5G play, which I like as well. Fantastic quarter. Really just shot up. Wish we had more of a position in this. We just sold some puts because, again, we were a little hesitant on this overall movement here into earnings. Really had a huge quarter higher, potentially kind of trading here sideways above the 106 to 105 level to kind of wait for those moving averages to kind of catch up there. BAC, we can look at Bank of America. Oh my gosh, this lovely chat just updated again. 1 second. Someone saw Bank of America, sorry. So Bank of America, of course, is one that the boy at the, what's that old guy's name that owns a furniture, no, I'm just joking. Warren Buffett's been buying this over hands over fists, basically buying in super large positions, looking for potential resistance here at the 26 to 2682 level. We can get above this, close above it. We could see some potential run to 28. Again, we're talking about a bank stock, so we're not talking about a Tesla or some crazy technology company that is coming with some innovative stuff. We're just talking about a bank and just talking about the potential run up in some of those deposits. And this, again, with the interest rates being low, banks, for me, banks, I don't understand banks. Like, there's just so many other things that's basically going on behind the curtain. I just don't understand. So it's going to be very difficult. Warren Buffett is the person that knows things in and out about banks, so I trust his judgment on that. I don't think his judgment on the airlines was great, so be mindful of that. Oh my lord, my thing just updated again. Tencent, what's Tencent's ticker? Kevin, yeah, TSM. TSM has been another great performer like an AMD, but these have popped up super strong on earnings, gapped up multiple times, and now it's kind of trading sideways, potentially building a strong base here, waiting for that momentum to kind of kick back up and then potentially kick up to the $80 level, $88.41. Who was, oh, coolest that ever. Again, thanks again, my friend. I really do appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. So with TSM really just moving up here, potentially just trading sideways here around the $80 level, waiting for those moving averages to kind of catch up again. This is kind of the scenario of like, hey, take a breather, take a second, regain the energy, and get a potential kick higher. Fantastic quarter. The trend and momentum is intact. We can really see this here on the weekly side. We're looking super strong here again, potentially waiting to kind of wait for those moving averages to kind of catch up and just trade sideways. We already did Tesla, my friend. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to scroll around. We got so many folks in the chat, guys. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Buffett really bought Uber? Really? Is that for real? I didn't know that. Oh, Tencent is okay. That makes sense. So this is kind of came up in my scan. My friend, thank you for giving me that ticker. I totally forgot about this one. This one has been really beaten down. We do have earnings that's coming out here. This would be one that could be potentially a surprise candidate. This has come down to that 34 EMA, which we've seen here happen before the quarter and potentially just pop up higher. Again, with earnings, it's being a Chinese-based company, earnings is too many of a coin flip. Potentially would buy potentially some shares to be on the very like conservative side. Like I wouldn't be buying straight calls here in options play because it's going to be super too risky for me. And I don't even know how it trades with calls here. Yeah, there's not even options for this. So I would have to buy calls. That's potentially could see some movement here, but this is going to be a very difficult one to trade. If this can hold this level around 67, it can come down to 64, but this looks pretty standard here, but we don't want to see that 5 and 8 cross through the 21, which is a yellow line. We could see that would be a really strong switch in trend, and we can see that downward move it to that 64 level and even lower if that really starts picking up as well. We have not talked about Lyft. We can talk about Lyft. That has earnings this week, right? Poor Lyft has just been a very, very slow bleeding ship here, and just really just having issues on the way down. That trend does not look great here on the daily side. Try to get above that 200 EMA, just has not been able to. With Uber, it's kind of been a different story. They had a little bit more diverse portfolio and a little bit more access to capital, I believe. Even with them, Uber's still somewhat in this trading range here, and really need to see it breaking out and above. It can break out, but it needs to close above that 34 level to potentially get to 36. And to the downside is basically that support level around $30 or below. So with Lyft, this thing has just not. Poor guys over there. It's a great company, but just it's not doing too well on the stock side here. With earnings on the horizon, I believe it was like Wednesday or something like that. Just looking for potentially to see what happens here. This one is going to be a difficult one to trade. They're saying a move of $3.07. $3.07 could not put it up to the 200 EMA. So the 200 EMA is basically going to come down. So again, this is basically your overhead resistance. This thing really needs to break above that $37.57 to really have any chance in God's green earth to really start get out moving here. We do have some stuff performing very well here. We have that squeeze setting up here. We do have RSI is kind of just falling asleep here, same with the volume zone oscillator. Looking for that potential move higher here, but to the downside, we can kind of do a fib here to kind of look at the potential downside movement here in the overall market here for you, my friend. So that support level is really going to be around $30, the initial support, but with earnings, it could come down to 23. That's a pretty drastic move. I know it said only like a $3 move, but things can really just pick off and start selling. We could be looking for around that $23 level. And then your upside overhead pressure would be around 37. I know that's a super wide range, but that's the way that the charts are looking here. JR Media, Chegg? No, we have not done Chegg. CHGG, if that's what you're talking about. Cha-ching. Oh, he said cha-ching. Yeah, Chegg? Who said Chegg? I saw someone say Chegg. I don't know who said Chegg, but I saw it scroll through the thing real fast. So Chegg is one of our longer term calls as well. This has been really great for us. Really holding that 21 EMA, coming down to 34 a couple times, but just kind of really building that base and popping higher. Again, looking at the overall market, this could be performing fairly well. Basically, we're looking months out here, and we're looking for some potential overhead targets here. Basically, try to hit above 90 and then hit to $100 for those overall targets to kind of be hit. We're really just kind of potentially building a base here. This kind of has a run up, build a base, run up, build a base, run up, build a base kind of mentality. So we're looking for a potential run up and then kind of building a base, and we can kind of see how that plays out from there with Chegg. Downside support is going to be basically kind of coming in. You've seen here previously tapping the 21, and that's actually where the parabolic SARs kind of come in as well. So basically around the $78.36. Yeah, Tesla battery day could be something substantial without a doubt. But again, it's all just talk. We could really not see that forth. JR Media, yeah, we can look at Tesla again. So Tesla, I actually want to add it to my main radar to potential trade some options on this. In the short term, we're really looking for that support around the 21, around 1438. But again, it's Tesla, it's volatile. Elon Musk can tweet something and go the completely other direction. So it could be very, very difficult to play without a doubt in the short term. On long term, a lot of people is that we're long a lot of stock in this. Upside support, resistance are basically around $16.47. Downside is going to be basically coming in first level about $13.65 for downside. Dallas KRE. These regional banks. Yeah, so the whole banking sector has not been performing super well. We are seeing some potential hitting that target around 39.57, which is the 38.2 percentile move from the previous swing high to low. It's good. That's a good move. We have also the squeeze setting up with RSI and volume zone also trying to go higher. If this can continue going higher and this moving averages can print higher and really get above this level, we're really looking to hopefully beat that 200 EMA here, which is around $42 to the upside there. To the downside, we're really looking for support here around that $37. They announced a 10-to-1 split. Really? Tesla said a 10-for-1 split. Are you serious? I would have known that. I don't think they... No, I haven't heard that. There's nothing on the chart that's indicating that for me on the time zone. Brandon, Square. Yeah, we can look at Square, my friend. We looked at that initially, but we look at it again. So Square, again, we had that earnings announcement. Really just kind of took it the other direction. Looking again to kind of potentially trade sideways between the $47 range to even down to $40 range. That would be completely fine. We could see this kind of just trade sideways. Because again, the moving averages are kind of far away. We need to kind of catch up with the super strong earnings that it had and just really just beat out. We're really looking for this to kind of take a break, and we can see how this plays out in this stock here. But again, looking for really strong support around the 140 range without a doubt, to see this kind of hold this pattern to potentially build a base and really start picking up to get test that 170 range. Let's see here. Derek C. Net Cloudflare. Thanks, Ken. You're welcome. Did I do net or I did not? Yeah, so net, again, it's kind of the same bucket like Datadog and the other folks. Oh, who just done it? Dumb shit. I love your emoji face. Thank you. Thank you for the $2, my friend. So with this one, with net, really looking for some support here around the $40 range. If it comes down again with the earnings kind of I honestly believe too much of our earnings run up and now kind of just coming back down to earth. Looking for around the $39, $40 range to hold. If this doesn't hold, look at level 2 support is going to come around $37.85. And then if that can hold, potentially build a base between either of those levels, we're going to be looking for to kind of see that $40 and $42 range tested. If those 5 and 8 really cross aggressively through the 21, that could be potentially downside support to the 50-day, which would be around $35.55 in this area here. But we're having fairly strong momentum still intact. The only thing that's kind of fell off the cliff is the overall direction of the volume zone oscillator in RSI as well. Could be easily slowed down at potentially the 21 or 34 EMA. Build that base and start getting some higher prices above $42-ish. Yeah, definitely do not bet against Elon. He's a tough son of a gun. Let's see here. I'm sorry, guys. Got so many folks in the chat today, guys. Got too many people in here. Send it. I'm up 500% in Tesla. Nice. That's a nice move in it. Dumb shit. Okay, yeah. Can you do fib for AMC? Without a doubt, my friend. So, again, AMC, poor movie theaters, not feeling a lot of love due to the overall virus. So we're doing on the daily side here, I'm just going to call you DS. So we're looking from the $12 to around the $1.95, swing high to swing low. We are seeing a squeeze intact. It looks like it has, wow, they lost a lot of money in that last quarter. Looking for, again, huge movement higher. We have a squeeze intact here. Looking for potential first level support or overhead resistance at $5.87. That's kind of where the falling 200 EMA is on the daily side. Downside support basically is going to come in around where all those parabolic SAR lines are coming in, around $3.81. That's going to be your support there. Again, we did break above that 23.6 percentile move. Really been hovering around that range, so that's a really strong support there here previously, like 2 weeks ago. Again, next level of support is going to be around the overhead pressure. Is going to be coming around, again, that 200 EMA, or basically where the 38.2 percentile move is around the $5.83. So we'll see how that one plays out. That's going to be definitely fun one to watch. So DS, thank you for the $2, and hopefully that was good. On the weekly side, this thing has just been not performing very well. You can see that downward trend has not been not being very grateful to this stock. Send it FUV. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. I'm not sure what the heck this does, because it was a penny stock and now it just kind of ran up. This looks like honestly like a cup and handle here. It's really coming down to the 21 here. Built a strong base, potentially trying to break above that $7, $8 range there. If it can hold between the 21 and 34, this looks like a really strong pattern to potentially get above that $8 range there. Yeah, poor AMC for sure. Let's see here. Someone said Disney. I saw that scroll by real fast. I'm not sure who it was. I'm sorry. So Disney, we can look at Disney. Of course, Disney is coming out with guns a-blazing. If you don't know, we are long-term Disney fans here, and Disney stock, really strong stock, it's going to be basically going to my daughter's account when she comes of age. Really strong support here was around the 116 level, or $116. Had a super strong quarter, really broke past that 125 range that we talked about previously. We really want to see this continue to stay above the 125 range, build a strong base, and then start looking for attacking the 137 range there as well. Those would be some really key indications to see on this stock continuing moving higher. Downside support's really going to be coming in around the 200 EMA, which is around 120 for the Diz, or the Mouse House. Yeah, that $30 thing for the new Mulan movie seems pretty insane, but I think they really put a strategic price target on it. Like, hey, like, listen, like, that's like exactly how much we would make off the movies, so we kind of have to start bringing it back to the community. Enter GE stock. Yeah, we look at GE. You don't have to spam it, please. So GE is trying to make a slight comeback here. We talked about this previously. Support here around the $5.87. Looking for, again, to start breaking above that $6 range. Really want to see it above the $6.75 to continue going higher. This is really just a story of just like it's well below the 200 EMA. It's just not a really sexy, attractive chart. It's going to be one that is going to take a lot of time to recover, I believe. That is a particular chart I really wouldn't want to put my money into unless, again, I think they removed their dividend too, right? Am I right? This has been not performing very well. It could have a huge jolt back and potentially move higher, but I think that you're going to be super patient here, and I wouldn't be putting in my whole life savings in GE. Oh, you shorted 400,000 shares? Holy moly, dude. So you can kind of see here with the parabolic SAR dots here have just been continually just printing it down. So if it starts breaking above the $6.58 and closing above that, switching the parabolic SAR and seeing the momentum switch from red to yellow on the TTM squeeze, we can see that movement going higher. Brian, what's up, my friend? Thank you for the support. Thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I really love you always commenting on the videos. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for showing up. No one's talked about Amazon. Amazon is looking super interesting for me as well. This is particularly a trade that I want to be putting into place in the coming days. Looking for this, we have that magic line since Brian has joined. We can do the enchanted line here of Amazon. We're going to extend that enchanted purple line here. Brian, go ahead and say your shaman stuff in the microphone and just talk about that for a little bit while we're talking about the chart here. Really looking for, again, everyone's like, what the hell is Ken talking about? So Brian and I have this ongoing bit about creating these purple imaginary lines or boxes around things, and most of the times it works. we just put a spell on it and it just works. So with this one, again, looking for that support around the 21 EMA, aka where that line is, and we can kind of just see that potentially just kind of start trading higher. Really would love to see this back above that 3,000, 3,300 range for Amazon. Let's see here. I just saw something come through. Yeah, PayPal. Let's do PayPal from Dallas. Let's do Dallas. PayPal, just kind of like Square, had a fantastic quarter, and this thing is really just moving higher. In the short term, you really want to, if you're day trading it, it's between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average here. But again, we're showing some signs of potentially kind of slowing down here, trading sideways and kind of waiting for those moving averages to kind of catch up here. With PayPal, again, this thing is just really overtaking the payment space. We can do the previous swing high to low here, and we can kind of give a better picture here. Looking for some downward support around 196, even down to 189. Next target really to capture and take prisoner is the $215 range there. Vincent, what about Workhorse and Upwork? Yeah, those have come up quite a bit with folks really speculating on if Workhorse can get that the UPS, or not UPS. What is that? What's the people that deliver the mail? Am I doing it right? Oops. Is it work? What is Workhorse ticker symbol? That's not WHKS? No, that's not popping up. Then Upwork, I know that one. Is this one. This ends. A lot of, I think, earnings expectation was super high. Didn't perform as what people thought, and kind of came really far down here. Didn't break through those parabolic SAR dots here, so that is a good sign here. I should probably actually change those colors on those. That always seems like it blends in with everything. Coming down to that 50-day simple moving average that we talked about, those are the hedge fund folks that like to buy that 50-day moving average of the daily side. Especially after earnings, they love to nibble, and take that out of the Robinhood investors, the weak hands. Potentially seeing this kind of bounce here, bounce higher. We're still above. We want to see that range about $15 to hold, and potentially start seeing to kind of come back up to 17.41, and potentially downward support is going to be really coming at level 1 at 13.75, and then down to 12.75 there, my friend. Work WKHS. That's what I wrote, right? WKHS. Okay, there it goes. Thank you. So with this one, again, this is like super consolidating here. I honestly just want to take a bet on this one, just because maybe throw like $100 or $200 into this to see what happens. Just be super speculative and just be willing to lose that money and not willing to take that back. Just really just taking a bet on this. Potentially, it's holding the 21 super well. Running into earnings, it has earnings on the 10th, so that's tomorrow. Was it after the bell or before the bell? Before market. Okay, so I guess I missed it. This is going to be definitely one to watch. I don't think do they even have weekly options? They do. So they're saying like a $3 move this week. Support really is going to come around $14.57 to the downside. Upside support is really going to be coming in, start breaking above that $19 range there for work. But with earnings on the horizon, especially coming out tomorrow, let's say the 11th. Oh, I'm sorry, am I being stupid today? Come on, please light up. They're saying the 10th, so that is tomorrow. Okay, so I thought I was the 11th. Okay. My brain's not working right. So this one, looking for some support to kind of potentially hold that 21 and build this trend higher. But I think this is completely tied to a lot of folks who are just betting on if the Postal Service can get that deal from the Postal Service. We're talking billions of dollars. Big thanks you for joining, my friend, and thank you for becoming a member within the YouTube club there, the join button club. We can definitely look at Mickey D's for you. And Big, did you see the post that I did for those potential trade ideas? I'm trying to test that out to make sure that it comes out okay through the community tab there. With Mickey D's here, been performing pretty well here. Really breaking above that 78.6 percentile move from the previous swing high to low. And we are closing above it, so that's a good sign. Potential downside support is going to be coming around 196. Really strong support around 190. Really looking to test that 221. Again, that's on the daily side. We can kind of do a little bit of shorter time frame depending on what you're looking at here. Looking for that previous swing high to the low here. Looking for that potential price target around 205 or above, and then hitting 213 from there. To the downside, again, we're looking for support around 195 to the downside because it has hit the 21 substantially amount of time. So that's basically what we're looking for at Mickey D's. Great. Thank you, Big. Okay, we're getting some spam here. Hold on, some folks are coming in here spamming some stuff. YouTube does a pretty good job on catching those spam things. People are trying to spam some stuff. Let's see here. Okay, sorry, I was just getting rid of some. A message was coming through as spam, and it looks like it was someone talking about Forex and had some like link to an outside source. I made sure I blocked the user real fast. I reported it. Yep, there we go. Report that son of a gun. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let's get back to the chart here, boys and girls. Futures are ripping, and I'm only up 4 points, JR. For me, that's not ripping. Ripping would be 100 plus points. Send it opinion on TLT calls. So I had TLT calls just as a hedge. I always like to have some kind of hedge on just to be on the super safe side. So TLT, you're looking at basically the 20-year bond ETF. Basically, you're looking for those notes to kind of. It's really been failing here at the $171.07 here range, and really just knocking on the door and just not able to get above it. Kind of forming a potential just like WTF, what's going on here kind of situation. But it's not breaking down and showing completely bearish mentality as well. So we're still seeing that 5 and 8 moving averages kind of still be somewhat intact here. We really need to see if you want to be super, it sounds like you want to be long TLT with the calls you're talking about. You're really, again, betting on to see that really start breaking above the 171 range. If we start to get above this range and start closing above it and start seeing the moving averages cross above that range, that would be on the bullish side. But as of right now, it has not been performing and showing that. We do not have a squeeze indicating here. But also the same side, things aren't saying that it's going to be continually going lower. It's just kind of just waiting and anticipating a potential move here. Because everything's somewhat flat here and basically nominal. Like volume's flat, RSI's flat, nothing really to write home about. But it's an interesting pattern, and I can see what you're trying to play here. But there's just been so much overhead resistance here. Buying calls, if you want to be contrarian like I normally do, this could be a nice little play to buy like at the money calls or even the 30 deltas or 40 deltas a month or two out to see how that plays out. But you really need time to kind of expedite those calls and really start printing them higher there. Hey, sorry I'm late. What about BEK and DC IPOs? So with those IPOs, they don't have any charting data, so it's from what I come through, what my perspective on charts and adding some fundamentals to it, it's hard for me to look at because there's no chart for me to look at. GSX. I think that's the one I messed up on my video the other day. Oops. Of course, this one it went down pretty substantially, about 18.5%. But guess what? It came down to only the 8 EMA. So that is basically still somewhat intact. It can come back down all the way to $92 and still come into intact. That being said, I don't want to be trying to catch this falling wrecking ball because this is a huge red candle here. I cannot stand in front of this. but to the downside, we're really looking for it to stop here at this level at 104, or even down to $91 level there. Baba is one that I recommended to the YouTube folks. The club there that we run here, if you want to check that out, there's a join button next to the subscribe button if you want to join the Dyslexic Investor Club. Basically, with Alibaba, we're looking for that support level to hold around 250, potentially even down to 244. Seeing this potentially trade sideways and potentially, maybe, that means maybe for some folks, get a nice little earnings run, potentially getting above the 265 to 270 into earnings following in about a week and a half, basically. mRNA, we can look at that one. So this one has just been, again, just kind of been in that FOMO mentality, that the segment of like these folks are just selling insider trading stuff, the executives are being douches, whatever. Like, this thing has been performing pretty crazy and being super volatile to the extreme levels, honestly. That being said, from the previous swing high to low on the short term, no, excuse me, one second, got another spam link. So the previous swing high to low in the short term, it really failed here at the 84.26 level, and now we're seeing the moving average potentially cross over. If this support line, basically at the 72.71 level to $74, doesn't hold, we could potentially see some downside move to around 68. If this can hold and the squeeze can start building up and building a base here, we could be potentially seeing prices above 80, 85 to even $90 with a strong, super strong burst out movement there. Nice. On overall oil recovery, I don't know much about oil, honestly, DS, so I'm not going to be... I think if the overall economy and things can start picking up again, I think oil can make a recovery, but I think oil kind of just has a bad name and just is kind of the doghouse. So it's kind of just the feeling there a little bit. So let's go ahead, and a couple of things I wanted to talk about was Apple. The Apple, again, they're giving away that free money at the end of the month. If everyone doesn't know that, we can see that overall movement kind of come into play. That's basically looking for between the movement of the 5 and 8 moving averages to continue to hold, potentially around 426 can come down to, and just kind of wait to see how that split plays out. Blue, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Nice, thank you. So with Apple, really looking for that support level around 426. To the upside, we could be potentially testing the 570. That is kind of far away from where we're currently trading, but anything can happen. I don't have a crystal ball, so be mindful of that. And that overall run up into that 4-to-1 split could be pretty crazy, and people can get really hyped about it. Oh, the chat's really blowing up here, guys. Thanks for... Let's see here. Let's see here. What free money? I was joking about the free money. So the joke is the free money of the where people thinking their thought process is of like, oh, the stock's going from $450-ish to $100, so that I must get free money. But I don't know if they think about the next step of like, yes, you're going to get more shares, but the overall value is still the same. It just is basically, it's called, you're fractioning the cost. JT Redfin, is that Red RD? Good choice. Actually, that's a good one to look at, because Zillow did fantastic, right? Oh, they already had earnings. Darn it, that sucks. I thought I was going to be able to get a nice play on that. Looking for, again, Redfin's looking for some support around the 21, which is around $40. The 5 and 8 have looking fairly strong here to kind of continue this movement going higher. Looking for, this is a nice looking play. Previous swing high to low here. Looking, it kind of failed here at the 1272. Came back to the previous high. So looking again, support around $41.85. Looking for price targets, initial price targets in the short to intermediate term around 46.04 for the price targets, and potentially getting up to 50 here. Be super mindful of that. With this, again, momentum's been pretty great. Volume zone oscillator. This looks like a nice steady eddy to kind of continue to start grinding higher there. I like this one a lot. Good choice. Activision, ATVI better start doing some upward movement things, or else. Yeah, what are that? Let me look at that one again, how that one closed last week. So with earnings they had as well, the 21 still intact there, my friend. So we're looking for that momentum or that overall potential base building around $81 or above. To kind of see that potentially just kind of build a base here. There's a little bit of damage done with the RSI and volume zone oscillator here, and kind of seeing this potentially just kind of just trade sideways here. Again, with those 5 and 8 moving averages being in the more aggressively short-term moving averages, again, really just tying a lot of stuff to the 21 and 34 here. This looks like a nice little potential base building to kind of see where it goes and takes us. That price target around $90 still intact here. We'll see on how that overall plays out. Really want to see this kind of start building a base around the $81 levels, though. Audrey, have you looked at SE? We have not. We can look at SE, yes. SE is, of course, a stock that is basically like a shop or a fire, right? That's basically, but it's a Chinese-based company looking for some downward support around 120. Yeah, 121 to 123. With earnings that are coming up, we could see a nice little sharp reversal come in if this can hold here at this level around the 21 EMA or the 78.6% down move and get a really aggressive bounce higher. This looks pretty interesting. We do have that momentum really needs to start picking up here. Volume as well has been performing very well. So this is a nice, interesting stock to see how that overall plays out there. So that's a good selection there, Audrey. Third dimension, SDC. Smile Direct Club. Yeah, they have earnings coming out this week as well, right? Third? I thought I saw that. So this one is just super aggressively trying to get above that 200 EMA you can see here, and just fails, and fails. Can the moving averages kind of, can earnings help do anything about this? Without a doubt. Earnings can solve a lot of problems. What do they even have weekly options? They do. They have, it's $1.50 they're saying for this week. Again, it's only a $9 stock. $1.50 is pretty substantial, so it's like well over a 10 to 15% move to kind of get above that $10, basically that $9.26 range. Let me do. This is a newer, somewhat IPO too, right? I think this might be a sleeper one. Who said this one? Third? Yeah, I kind of somewhat agree with you for a potential breakout here. Potentially a breakout to get above that $10.31 would be really strong, potentially even down to up to 12. And then you start seeing some upward resistance at those two levels. So that's a great looking chart there, my friend. Downside support is basically down coming to around $7.76. That would be like a pretty hard stop for me there. Yeah, I love spreads. Spreads is a well-defined risk, so yeah. You're holding what? 150,000 shares. Are you serious? And can you do space? Yeah, we can look at space. That one has been a little bit of lackluster performer for us. Potentially really looking to kind of come back down to the $16, $70 range for this one, honestly. That the chart, again, the 5 and 8 have crossed through the 21. The damage has been packed. Earnings has been out, so we're looking for that, again, kind of start seeing that 50-day, again, we're talked about where is majority of the larger hedge funds are getting at these levels. Potentially seeing, again, that support coming in around $16, $17 support here with that 200 EMA as well as support. Really potentially kind of wanted to stop this bleeding and trade sideways and build that base to potentially get that movement going again. But again, a lot of this is a spec play. A lot of, again, FOMO into this, and then really just didn't perform very well after earnings. Oh, that's still a pretty sizable amount there. Do you know something I don't know there? Some insider knowledge there, third dimension. IVR. That's some kind of... Yeah, I have nothing to say on this one. This has just been very lackluster. Nothing to really report there. UAL. Yeah, we can look at UAL. So, airlines have been really lackluster due to the fact of, again, a lot of states and things like that are not allowing flights. A lot of countries not even allowing U.S. citizens to get in there at all for the vacation or anything like that. From the previous swing high to low, you can really see that how this is working out. Why is this not ticking here? There we go. Really came up here. We really need to start breaking out here above that 35.65 here to see that potential movement to 46. I know that's pretty substantial. We are trying to build a base here. We're having a squeeze setting place here. We have RSI's flat being the squeeze setting in place here and just kind of consolidating here. That doesn't mean that it's going to be popping higher and breaking out. That's definitely one that is just considering, like, it just has been very much an underperformance. It's not really trading very well or even worthwhile investment due to the very slow progression of its movement, and it's not really considered a growth stock, what I like to do. But that being said, we really need to see that above that 46.76 range and really above that 200 EMA to really have a chance to perform a lot better. Gary B, Greg B, thank you. We have looked at Uber, but we can look at it again for you, my friend. Thank you for showing up, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Uber, we really need to see that break out of this box here. Breaking out of that box, be above 34 to get above 36. Downside support's really going to come around $30, and we start breaking below that. We're looking for 28 there. Blue, we have not done spot. Good suggestion, though. We look at spot. So spot, this is a Spotify. This had earnings, didn't do very well, but we're seeing here, which I think what you're looking at too, Blue, is basically it's holding the 34 EMA. It has not broken below my alert here to the downside. If it breaks below that 245, we could be seeing it coming down to 238 or even down to 234 for that level of support. We did have a squeeze fired short performed okay, didn't go down drastic as much as we did. Looking for that potentially to hold around the 250 level. 250 is a nice round number. A lot of people like the number 250. Again, this has a lot of potential upside. We need to see that damage to recover between the 5 and 8 moving averages, start crossing into the 21 and start going higher. And again, volumes on oscillators not looking pretty. But again, if in the short term it can hold this and build up some strength, we could see some really impressive prices coming in the short to intermediate term to kind of get above that, basically the 275 up to the 280-ish level to start testing that $300 level to the all-time high. It's got a lot of stuff going for it, right? Brian, EVRG. Energy Inc. Ugh. This one's not looking pretty, Brian. I need to draw some lines on this one. I think this is the high here, right? So it kind of broke through the first level support around $57.17. Kind of came down, didn't want to touch that 32.8 percentile move at basically the 52.08 level here. That is basically a level of support that it could come down to. It's kind of slightly making a recovery here. That doesn't mean it's going to be coming skyrocketing higher here, Brian. But again, really, those moving averages have been pointing a lot to the ground, so it's going to be a difficult one to kind of pinpoint where the bottom is. It's hard to always say that. Oh, you have puts on it. Okay. So with that one, we want to see that. I'm glad this worked out for you then. So this looks like, again, downward support here. Let's try to recover here. We could get a fake out here. If it starts breaking above 57, we could be potentially coming down further. But we'll see how that plays out. Really, level 2 support is going to be coming around 52.08. I don't know if you saw it, Tim. So Robinhood is actually turning off its API, a lot of stuff. So it's actually closing itself down a lot more to a lot of people, basically stealing the videos of like that I used to do, or I think it's still available now. Is you can use like Robinhood Track or the popularity, what's the most stock that most people are in. They're kind of getting away with that. Derek C. Work. Yeah, we can look at Work. So this one has kind of been a little bit of a lackluster here. We have that make-believe box here as well. We've done a lot of work on this. This has been requested quite a bit here. So we're really looking to see it. It's still been above and closing in around that 200 EMA, which is basically around the $28, $29 level. Potentially downside support will be coming around $27.95 and then $25.70. If this wants to go higher, we need to start seeing that 5 and 8 moving averages to start crossing through the 21 to get above that $30 level, to get above that, out of that box, about 34-ish level there. Oh, it looks like the spam's coming in again. I thought I removed you, sir. I can hide your messages. Okay. Sorry, I was getting rid of some spam messages coming that way. What are those levels on the fibs? Which stock are you talking about? Lyft PG. You're talking about this on Work? Yeah, so levels at the 78.6 percentile move. Support really for Work is around the $27.95, and then the overall really need to start getting above that 50% move, about the $30.97. But this overall movement in the overall daily chart is really need to get out of this box. Really need to start breaking out here well above the $34, $35 level to the upside. To the downside, we're really just hovering around this. Again, I'm more of an optimistic. We'll see how that plays out. Those levels, yes, red and orange, etc. So these are the Fibonacci extensions. So we usually do this from a previous swing high to low to high again, and it kind of gives you some potential markers from that. Wix is a scary one right now. The Nikola CEO is likable. That doesn't mean that company's good, right? WIX. Wow. Is this the Squarespace stock that you can basically build your own site kind of situation thing? Yeah, this kind of came down exactly to the 290 level, which is basically that previously swing high to low 78.6 percentile move. That is a pretty drastic move without a doubt. Again, support really coming in around the 283 level. Really would like to see it above 311 to potentially even to its past its all-time high above 326 if it can really make a really strong reversal there. Bob, we just did spot. We're looking for to kind of hold around that 250 range, and then we haven't done JD. We can do JD. JD, somewhat similar, has earnings on the horizon. Chinese-based stock, so it's gonna be super difficult to trust if the earnings is right or not. Looking for that 34 to really hold here around 61.58, potentially even down to the 50-day, which is around $60-ish. To kind of see this run up to earnings potentially to get above that $65 levels for that run up into earnings to see how that plays out. But then after earnings, it's a really much of a coin flip there, Bob. Snake oil salesman. Snake oil salesman. Yeah, we'll know in the long term on if Nikola works out or not. We kind of did AMC, but we can kind of cover that real fast again for you. So AMC really just hasn't been performing too well. I did have a pretty large move the other day. Again, it's only a $4 or $5 stock, so if it moves 60 cents, it's like a 50% move. Looking for, again, that kind of broke that parabolic SAR, but we're really to kind of need to see it above the 475. Really need to see it above $6. That's going to be where the 200 EMA is. NOK, bro. What's NOK? Is that not Nika? Nokia. That's what it is. So this one, I think we did the last one time we talked about this. So I remember having some alerts on this one. Looking for some support here around $4.75. Really looking for that target, previous high around 542. With earnings really popped higher. Again, with earnings, we could see some consolidation between the 5 and 8 and kind of have these moving averages catch up, or we can see this kind of start grinding higher, potentially seeing some base building here to kind of get that movement and just go pop substantially higher here. MLP, Master Limited Partnership, yes, that's correct. Tamara is saying GRAF is the best long-term stock in the entire market. Well, that caught my attention there, sir. So let's check that out. GRAF. I would have to disagree. That is a best stock in the whole world. Come on, it's below 200-day. It's literally just trending lower. It's not getting anywhere out of here. I got nothing to say on that one. Oh, it's a G. Okay, I mistyped that. Okay. This looks like another SPAC play here, so I need to do research on that one. Sorry. Blue, what's up? Do you think FB will keep running? Is it due for some pullback? That's going to be a difficult one. Like, I can never say when a pullback could be in play, but you can see here it hit the 1618 here at 278.57, basically within a quarter, basically, and came down pretty drastically. This looks like it's still in a very strong mode here between the 5 and 8 exponential moving averages and continue going higher, but really could be seeing some support even down to the 248 level as well to see this play out. Again, earnings has already been passed, so that headwind is out of the way, but again, Facebook's always in the news for something or what's going on, so we'll see how that plays out. Between the 5 and 8 moving averages, this could be a very interesting short-term trade here. I would, for a pullback, it's going to be very difficult to see what that happens because RSI is nowhere even overbought here as well. So we'll see how that plays out to potentially even down to the downside. We could be seeing this kind of consolidating here in around this range. First level will be around the 248 to the 245 range, and then further down to around the 233 level. I know that's super drastic and super wide ranges again, but it's Facebook, so it is very drastic. You're welcome for the Nokia. Guys, I'm getting on the end of my overall energy output for today. Yeah, Ken, check out Teladoc. I've had known thoughts on how much lower it can go. Yeah, let's look at Teladoc. Thank you for... Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, we talked about this one. Didn't we talk about this one, both of you? Or was I thinking about someone else? This is a difficult one, my friend. We're looking for the previous swing high to the high here. Yeah, come on, click. Why isn't it clicking? There we go. Gotta get a new mouse. That mouse is a piece of junk. You're welcome, Blue. Thank you again for becoming a member. I really do appreciate that. I have confidence issues, and that's really great that people are willing to subscribe and pay for to join button. So, Blue, thank you so much. So with this again from Teladoc, it's gonna be a really hard one because there's been a lot of damage in this one. I think they're acquiring someone or someone's acquiring them or some kind of merger if I read it right. Potentially, it's gonna be very difficult to see when this one could come down to. It can easily come down to the 618 here, basically to around 182, and it's basically closed at the low is basically 190. So 182 is a 618, and even to 173 could be some key levels to the downside. We are seeing that the 5 and 8 moving averages have started crossed through the 30 through the 21, and now trying to start break through the 34. So that could be some potentially further downside. That being said, anything can happen in the market, and this can make it completely about face and just go the completely other direction. So this one is going to be a hard one because, again, it's not just the where it could stop with the moving averages or on the Fibonacci retracements, but it's also these large red candles are never a good look. We can see it just these large gap down, or not gap downs, but large red candles just mean a lot of selling. So we want the candle size to really start shrinking and getting smaller to the downside. And the smaller they get, we want to make a smooth landing around any of these moving averages here. What are the chances it can hit 150? I can't give you a probability, but we can look at some the short to intermediate term looking at the options. So they're saying just the move for this week is $18. So $18 where we're currently at is basically like, let's just say the 175-ish level, basically. Even 173, 172. That's completely to the downside, though. So be super mindful. The understanding of that. It doesn't mean that it's going to come crashing down. I want to be 100% sure this could be a really strong reversal. Just have to know where your moving averages come into. I really just don't like to see these large red candles down. But again, Datadog is a super aggressive stock as well, because it's basically was one of the key cornerstone stocks during the pandemic and everything. It still is, honestly, and it's a new age of people are like, hey, I don't need to put on a nice shirt and take a bath and then go to the doctor for him to take my temperature and things like that. I'm able just to do that basically from my house and just show him the rash I need my cream for kind of situation. But yeah, I kind of went too far on that one as well. You're welcome, Joseph. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all their nice comments. And I hope everyone has a fantastic coming week. We'll probably be winding down here in a little bit here, getting some shut-eye, getting some rest. Looking at the overall markets here, S&P 500s are only up 0.13 so it's a 0.13%, so $4. We got gold still trying to go higher, slightly consolidating here on the 8 EMA. The Nasdaqs, also the noodles, are basically at 1111111.25. That was kind of cool. Basically down $11. Looking for that potentially to hold. With Nasdaq, we want to see that potentially go higher as well. Really keeping an eye on the futures within the S&P 500, because we could potentially getting very close to the all-time highs as well, so we can kind of see how that plays out. Guys, I think I'm going to call it a night. If you've got any more tickers, please let me know. Again, my brain is starting to get a little tired, and I'm starting to see double. No, I'm joking. Again, I do appreciate it. We had a lot of people come out today. The chat was super fun. No drama. I love it. We did have a couple spammers coming in, but we blocked that pretty fast with some spam filters. We'll see how that plays out. Tim says, I think gold will take some dump, to be honest. Yeah, who knows? I think a lot of people are speculating on it for sure. I've been kind of day trading it just a little bit here and there in the morning. We are at a pretty key level here. If that 2021 here, no offense taking, could be potentially a support level to the downside. If this breaks with the parabolic SAR switch, we could be just kind of trading sideways, or we can get a potential dump down to the 21, which is around 1946. Blue, thank you again. I really do appreciate becoming a member. Really builds up my confidence as a YouTuber. I really do appreciate it. RTX, please. Yeah, is that Raytheon Tech? Yeah, look at that. I call that one. So this is one we kind of drew imaginary line here with Brian, but we just kind of move that right over here, and it, kind of adjust it here just a little bit to make it look like we're cool. Really just kind of making a support level here. Just underperforming here, not doing nothing fantastic here. We're trying to see the 5 and 8 cross to the 21. We really need to see that 5 and 8 cross to the 21 with some aggressive movement, and see that movement well above that 65.46 level there to kind of see any kind of potential breakouts, or start seeing it get higher. Riley says AAPL. So AAPL, again, if anyone knows, they're giving away free money at the end of the month. That's a joke. Sorry, that's a stock split coming up. With this one, we're looking for, again, huge gap higher on earnings and continue running on the anticipation of the split. I think a lot of people just got ahead of themselves and could potentially see this trade sideways, even come down to the $426 to kind of see this trade sideways a little bit between the 5 and 8 moving averages into that movement. Again, if Nasdaq and the overall tech section wants to move higher, that's going to, of course, Apple is going to be a huge component of that. Apple is a huge component in the whole overall market. So this wants to continue going higher to around the 470. That can easily happen due to the overall momentum and just the overall, honestly, the FOMO behind that stock split coming up. Guys, on that note, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much for coming out. We'll be doing definitely a live stream sometime during the week. It's in the evening to kind of do like a midweek recap and things like that. And of course, we'll be posting some videos regarding some potentially interesting trading ideas or some potential unusual options volume or anything that kind of piques my interest. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Invention. I hope everyone has a fantastic night. And if you're just interested in joining the Discord, there's a link below. And then we can just continue this lovely conversation on the Discord chat. All right, guys, thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Peace.